Alright, so this just arrived. Today we're going to be upgrading our PC to the 7800X 3D. I currently have a 5800X 3D, which is already pretty good. I'm not doing this to get more FPS, but I wanted more RAM because I do a lot of heavy video editing and whatnot. So I wanted more RAM, but I didn't want to stay on the same platform and just like buy another 2 sticks of RAM. So I decided it was time to upgrade to AM5. And alongside that, I'll be getting the 7800X 3D, which is a monster chip, as well as 32 gigabytes of this DDR5 RAM. So yeah, I also got a B650 motherboard, the MSI Gaming Plus, to go along with it. There's Tora checking it out. And yeah, so I will show you guys the before and after FPS here. Let's quickly take a before FPS that I get in Valorant. And if you guys are looking for the most amount of FPS in Valorant, you want to focus on upgrading your CPU because Valorant is a CPU heavy game rather than a GPU heavy game. I do have 4070 Ti, which is already pretty good, so the 7800X will pair pretty nicely with that. But let's check our FPS really quickly. This is on the 5800X 3D with a 4070 Ti, like I said. I'm also going to be doing a fresh Windows install later. But right now in the range, let me uncap my FPS. So this is with FPS uncapped. In the range on the 5800X, I'm getting around 900 FPS. This is with no bots. Let me spawn in some bots now. With bots spawned in, it's about 550 FPS, around there in the range with bots on. So this is the before, and now let's get to upgrading all the parts. Alright, here's my PC on the ground. I'm getting ready to take it apart. That's what it looks like before. It's pretty much just going to look the same though. Hopefully the clearance for the RAM is fine with this cooler because I have a fat Noctua cooler in here. But yeah, I'm just going to start by taking out everything, assembling it, and then putting it back in, so nothing too crazy. Alright, there's the old B550 Tomahawk taken out with the 5800X right there. I will be selling this on eBay, but if you are interested in buying it, obviously at a lower price, you can DM me on Twitter. Okay, and here's the aftermath of everything. Looks the same, but the motherboard, RAM, and processor are switched out here. So I'm going to be putting the case back on, panel, and then we can boot it up. Okay, there it is all plugged in with all the default RGB on. I'll probably turn that off later, but it's all working now. Now I'm just reinstalling Windows. Whenever you change any components inside your system, especially if you're changing like big stuff like a whole new motherboard and processor, you want to just do a little fresh install of Windows. Make sure there's no overlapping drivers or anything like that for the best performance. So I'm just gonna reinstall Windows really quickly here. Reinstall all my games and programs, do some Windows optimizations, and then we can see the change in FPS. But I'm not really expecting the FPS change to be too drastic. Again, I'm just mainly wanted to upgrade to the newer platform for future proofing, as well as just to get DDR5 32 gigabyte RAM, because I do a lot of data processing and video editing as well and stuff like that that needs a lot of RAM. So yeah, I'm just gonna reinstall Windows real quick and I'll be back soon. Okay, so let me show you guys what I do in the BIOS here. So I enable Expo obviously to get my RAM up to the right speed. So I updated the BIOS on my motherboard. Before the update for the BIOS, my boot time took like 2 minutes to get into Windows, which was crazy. And apparently this is a problem for B650. But after updating the BIOS, it went down to like 30 seconds. Or no, it was like 60 seconds. And then after that, I had to turn on, so you want to go into OC here and you want to find memory context restore. This was set to auto and I just changed it to enable, and that got my boot times back to normal. So now it takes me like 10-11 seconds to get into Windows. So that's the only two things I did in the BIOS, is I just turned on Expo for my RAM to get it up to speed, and then I turned on memory context restore. So yeah, you can see my boot time there is 11.2 seconds. So basically what I do with all my fresh Windows reinstalls, first things first, I just check for Windows updates, make sure I install all the latest updates. I also made a video on how to optimize your Valorant and Windows for the most amount of FPS. If you guys are interested in that video, I'll leave it linked in the description below. But yeah, I just update Windows and then I make sure to uninstall all of the Windows bloatware that comes with it, like OneDrive and stuff like that, since I don't use it, and like Solitaire and all those random games. And then also what I do is I go to my motherboard page as well as the NVIDIA drivers, make sure that my graphics drivers are up to date. And then I also go to my motherboard page and I make sure to download the latest BIOS, like I said, and I flash that to my motherboard. And then I also make sure to download the chipset drivers as well as the LAN drivers. And I don't use any of these other drivers. So let's get Valorant open. We can do an FPS test afterwards. Also, you might have noticed I'm on the B650 Tomahawk now instead of the Gaming Plus. And the reason is I just had to return the Gaming Plus because it was faulty. So I just picked up the B650 Tomahawk instead, and it was around the same price. So anyways, let me change the settings here because everything reset with the new Windows install. Also on the screen right now, I'll leave a picture of all the parts in my PC. As well as all the costs and everything, so you can kind of get an idea of how much this build would cost if you wanted to build it yourself. And in the description below, I will also leave a link to my PC part picker where you can see all the parts, and I also update that if I ever swap out components. Alright, we're loading into the range now, and I'm not expecting like a huge difference, maybe a little bit improvement in FPS, but like I said, the main thing was that I just wanted to upgrade to the next platform and get that extra DDR5 RAM as well. But it's nice if we get a little bit of FPS upgrade here. Looks like we did. So now without any bots in the range, we're hitting 1000. Just dropped down a little bit actually. But it's, yeah, now it's back to 1000. So it's right above 1000 it looks like. So around a 100 FPS boost I think. Before I was at 900 I believe. Now let's spawn in some bots. And it looks like my bot FPS is at, oh, never mind. It just went up. There we go. Yeah, definitely higher than before. It's now around 650, 700, around there. So definitely higher than before. So yeah, pretty nice to see that I did end up getting a small FPS boost. And keep in mind, this number is going to be a lot lower in-game. In the range, the FPS is a lot higher, but yeah, not bad at all. So yeah, really no regrets upgrading. It was pretty easy to upgrade to the AM5 platform. Pretty easy, just swapping out components. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Spike down A. Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Oh my!
Nice shell. We hit one of the
My ult's ready.
I have one.
One enemy remaining.
Three.
Up. Nice, well played.